The transcripts from Ghislaine Maxwell have been released by the DOJ, and about well. First off, it's like 6 hours long. I'm not listening through the full fucking 6 hours. Okay, I'm just gonna get some. Want to just mostly get some tidbits, snapshots, and like some summaries here, yada yada yada. Because I don't want to go through the whole thing. But what do we have here? What was revealed? Ghislaine Maxwell reveals she met Jeffrey Epstein after going through a bad breakup. Okay, cool, whatever. Oh man, the relationship meetup, great, fantastic. She says the weird stain was the most memorable thing about her first meeting with Epstein. But what the fuck is meant by the weird stain? Like this stain that he's like I don't know, a fucking pedo or some shit. What do you mean by fucking stain here? Because again, like so far there's been like it's mostly just been a fucking cover up. I don't think it's like ridiculous or hyperbolic to say that like she said some fucking shit in there that's just like inherently fucking contradictory, or she said certain things to appeal to Trump specifically to try to get a pardon. Because again, the point of her doing all of this is she wants the fucking pardon, right? Or to have this like go up to the Supreme Court and have them like rule in favor of her case. Because again, Trump was in the fucking Epstein files. We know this since May, right? Since May, Pam Bondi and the DOJ told Trump specifically in that Wall Street Journal report saying like, "Yeah, bro, you're in the Epstein files. You're in there multiple times." Now, we know also that he's been on the Lolita Express multiple times and that Jeffrey Epstein has gotten people from Mar-a-Lago through Ghislaine Maxwell as well, and they used to be friends for a very, very long time. Like, for about 10 years, I believe. So, it's not like ridiculous or hyperbolic to say that like did Trump do some potentially fucking sussy shit with Jeffrey Epstein? I think it is very very fucking likely. Was he on the fucking island? I don't know if he was on the fucking island of Little St. James. He was on the Lolita Express multiple times. He, had sex with fucking Melania on the Lolita Express, for fuck's sake. Like, come on, dude. He was on there, right? If he was on the island, that's another fucking question. But he's been on the fucking plane multiple times. It's very, very weird. Ghislaine Maxwell, like, has a frenzy surrounding her case to a Salem witch trial. Oh, I'm sure. People have gone and lost their minds for this thing. I understand that. I mean, we know. Well, I mean, you people are fucking both, and there are witness testimonies saying that you have sexually abused fucking minors. I think it's pretty understandable for people to be losing their mind over this. Like, keep in mind, a lot of conspiratorially minded people also participate in like other like I don't know pedophile conspiracy theories, and they do like a terrible job and throw so much bullshit into the fucking wind. And it's just like, dog, come on, man. Like, you're just making it harder for actual organizations who are investigating into this stuff. Like, just making it harder for them to be able to find stuff. So, I mean, that's cool. That's great. Fantastic. So here's something that's actually interesting. She believes Jeffrey Epstein was murdered, but there was no client list. Bull fucking shit. We know that Jeffrey Epstein was in a maximum security facility, right? So, maximum security facility. How the fuck is he going to get how the fuck is someone going to get like equipment in there to sort of like kill the fucking guy? Who did the fucking deed, right? Like, if was he murdered? I guess like okay. I think I'm mixing up murder with fucking suicide. Was he fucking murdered? Maybe, probably. Who would do the deed, right? Who killed him? That's the question. He could have been fucking murdered. Maybe I'm changing my mind on this. Because I read this as like fucking suicide. Because that's like been the standard sort of line that conservatives have been using. That he committed, or like a bunch of people have been using, right? Mostly people in power and like elitists said, oh, that he killed himself. It's like, bullshit, he fucking killed himself. How would he fucking kill himself? Right? How? More than likely, and this is what I think happened, he was given the tools to fucking kill himself. Who would put out the fucking hit? Would some fucking federal agent put out the fucking hit? We know through the metadata on the cameras that about a minute of it was fucking cut out. More than likely, like, because would they have to like set up a particular scene to make it like relatively believable? Would they be able to do that in a minute? Right? Because 1 minute he was fucking alive from before that minute that was got cut out and clipped out, right, by like Adobe Premiere or some shit. We know that through the metadata, once again, through another report, I think on the Daily Beast or Rolling Stone, one of the two outlets, that 1 minute was cut out. 1 minute was cut out, and that's more than likely where he was given the tools to do the deed, and he did the fucking deed. That's what I think fucking happened. Did someone go in there, murder him, and make it look believable that he committed suicide? Get that arranged in about a minute? Yeah, I fucking doubt that. And again, the client list stuff. Bullshit. No fucking shot, dude. Jeffrey Epstein's thing was that he was a fucking information broker. To think that he would not have extensive lists of people who are under his clientele seems very fucking peculiar to me, right? He's a guy who's meant to, again, because I've talked about this sort of idea before. What is essentially meant here by billionaire solidarity? They're going to have a bunch of fucking blackmail on one another in order to make sure that none of them fucking step out of line, and that, hey, we're here to sort of like maintain our own power and our own positions here, right, guys? So they have a bunch of fucking blackmail material to make sure that if there's a guy that fucking steps out of line, some dude can leak it to the press and ruin their fucking reputations. That's the fucking point. And you're telling me that Jeffrey Epstein didn't keep a fucking client list with that? Oh, please. Complete fucking nonsense. Describes dealing with the public outrage over a lifestyle most people can't comprehend. Dude, you're a convicted sex criminal. I think it's perfectly reasonable for people to be fucking outraged. You did that shit. There's plenty of fucking witness testimony saying like, oh yeah, she did this sexually abusive thing to me, she did that to me, blah, 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 and she was one of the main facilitators for fucking Jeffrey Epstein. It's so fucking funny, dude. But people don't like my sort of lifestyle choices. Yeah, I'm sure. DOJ transcripts reveal Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein's sex life was hindered by medical conditions. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, fucking whatever mental illness Jeffrey Epstein had that he wanted to, I don't know, to fuck little kids or some shit. Yeah, okay, bro. Totally. Insists Bill Clinton never visited Epstein's pedophile island. That's so fucking interesting that she's directly trying to contradict what Trump is saying. Because Trump is saying that Bill Clinton was there like up to about like 20 times on the fucking island. Now the question is was he there like up to 20 times? I don't know. I have no reason to fucking doubt that. He appears in the fucking flight logs. I think he appears in the logs of like Little St. James and shit like that, which means he was on the fucking island. So her directly contradicting this is interesting to me, which makes me think that, is she saying this to try to also get some, I don't know, credit with the more sort of elitist establishment wing of the Democratic Party? Like, why would she say this? Like, why? That's a little weird. I know that apparently she also said that Jeffrey Epstein wasn't an intelligence asset. I'm just like, really? Then why would someone who was a a social studies substitute teacher, right? Because that's what the job he had was before, all of a sudden become a financial guru and have billions of dollars all of a sudden help manage the finances of like a bunch of different CEOs. That's a little weird. Like, what? Not a bunch of different CEOs. It's the Victoria's Secret CEO guy. Why would he? Why? Like, I do think he's some form of an intelligence asset. Now, the anti-Semites will say it's Mossad. I don't think it's Mossad. I think it's like FBI, probably. That he's an intelligence asset for them. And the reason for that is because, again, a lot of billionaires and, well, wealthy people have a ton of fucking power. Power that can potentially threaten the security apparatus of the state. Jeffrey Epstein, with his proclivities, can have that material as blackmail that can be a huge asset to state institutions, state security institutions like the FBI, to have potential dirt and ammunition against, well, billionaires and the wealthy, just in case they decide to get out of line. It's blackmail material. That's the point of having stuff like that. So to say that it's just like he's not an intelligence asset. Now we don't have any evidence. We don't have any concrete evidence. So what I'm saying here is a conspiracy theory, right? Like I don't have any evidence to prove any of this stuff. But the idea, it's just like really like this dude who's all of a sudden like talking it up with some of the most powerful intellectuals and like individuals within the United States of America. He has had relations with, at this point, a current and a former US fucking president, and has had relations also with Elon Musk. He's probably not like relations, but has talked with him multiple times before. You're telling me that this guy is not being used to have dirt on a bunch of people? I personally doubt that. Of course, we have dumbasses like Marjorie Taylor Greene saying that just one line from Ghislaine Maxwell is going to exonerate the fucking president. I actually never saw the president in any type of massage setting. I have never witnessed the president in any inappropriate setting in any way. The president was never inappropriate with anybody. In the times that I was with him, he was a gentleman in all respects. I highly fucking doubt that. There's no fucking way. And of course, like, we all know the purpose of this interview that Todd Blanche did with Ghislaine Maxwell. It's all just fucking partisan hackery and bullshit, right? You give us the dirt that we're looking for, and President Trump can pull some strings to try to, play to the fucking media and potentially fucking pardon you. We already know that she's out on fucking work release. She can go out and do work. And we all know what kind of work she fucking did. So to release her off of on the basis of her being able to go out and do work, that doesn't seem very, very good. But as expected from this like rank partisan hack, fucking Marjorie Taylor Greene, I expect no fucking less. But Fox News, I wonder what Fox News has to say about all this. I just want to see like what conservatives, the sort of like MAGA cultists, mostly have to say. I'm most curious about that.
Guys, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Martha McCallum, and a lot of breaking news this hour. We are just starting to get a look at documents that have been released by the Justice Department just a few minutes ago. This is the audio and the transcript from the jailhouse interview with Jeffrey Epstein's convicted accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell. Justice correspondent David Spunt is going through all of this from Washington. We're just starting to get a look, reading through some of the introduction here. David, obviously it's early. There's a lot of documents and a lot of audio here, but what have you been able to see in these so far?
Well, in just a few minutes, Martha, we've been looking through this, and we can tell you the top line here is that there's no client list, according to Ghislaine Maxwell, and there are no high...
Again, like I said before, why the fuck would there be no fucking client list? Again, I have to just say, why? Why is there no client list? Again, Jeffrey Epstein is a fucking information broker. That is his fucking purpose. You're telling me that he did not keep extensive fucking records of the clients that he had? I highly fucking doubt that. There's no fucking way.
Powered individuals that were on any sort of list. She did not incriminate anybody in that 9-hour interview that she did with the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche. She said right here, quote, "There is no list. We'll start with that. The genesis of that story I can actually trace for you is from its absolute inception, if that is what you're interested in. That's part of the DOJ transcript."
Wait, did she mention what that is in the DOJ transcript at all? In any instance? Like, did she? Or was that redacted? Because we know there's also stuff that's fucking redacted in the transcript itself. Certain words have been fucking redacted. I've seen the fucking transcripts, right? Like, there's certain shit. Like, why don't we fucking try to get it? I'm curious now. Ghislaine Maxwell transcript. Because the fucking document itself has been released. Day 1 transcript. There's the recordings. I don't want the recordings. I just want the transcripts. I'm curious. Let's just control F client list. It's not even spelled client list. So there's been a lot of conversation whether Epstein maintained like a list of people, client list or anything. David Marcus. Well, okay, Ghislaine Maxwell saying, this is the exact thing here. It is, well, first, being short, there's no list, there's no client list, nothing like that. No, there's nothing like that you know of. That I obviously, right, yeah, okay. Wait, why did you fucking cut her off there? That's a little interesting. You say you think you know the genesis, so go ahead. I'd like you to know that I brought some supporting corroborative evidence to. Well, tell me what it is. And then we'll get the corroboration. Well, why don't you tell him first? Is this? Do you want to take a break here because this is it's a long story? Yeah, this is long. Yeah, let's take a. Right as they were about to present the corroborating evidence, they take a fucking break, resuming the recorder of pre-off proffer of Maxwell. So when we stop to take a break, we're talking about publicly discuss a black book. That's what we are. You think there might be no narrative? Right, I just want to reiterate again, no list. Okay, present. The origin of the story, I believe, is back beginning 2009, and then it has a prequel, start 2009. There is Epstein is, I think, out of jail. People, law firm, lawyer, confidential. No, there's some fucking redactions. Confidential information of them. Cooperating. There's a lot of fucking leading stuff that Todd Blanche is also doing in here, which, more so leads to a lot of the fucking bullshit. Therapists and men, blah, 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 blah. Alfredo Rodriguez. Criminal complaint. The truth is, Alfredo Rodriguez was deposed twice. 2009 simultaneously. There's a redaction there, okay? I was mentioned by blank. Was it Epstein or was it Trump? Wasn't even sure. Probably not Trump. Okay. Something in there about the client list. What about day 2? Because there was a second day of this stuff. DOJ redaction. I meant DOJ redaction. Very good question. Money go into your accounts, like purchase a helicopter. No control. Is that what I'm saying? Banker, blah, blah, blah. I'm not fine. Like, there's not a lot of fucking interesting. Like, let's control a fucking client list. Is there a client list in here? Nothing about the client list in here. So it was only in the first day they talked about the fucking client list. Again, like, there's a lot of fucking leading bullshit that Todd Blanche is doing specifically here, which kind of makes me think that, like, we know what the fucking point of this is. It's just that Trump wants to get fucking political dirt on the Democrats and throw people off of the scent that he's probably in there, right? Still, this is like a dog shit fucking cover-up. Is mostly what I'm fucking seeing here. I'm not, like, this is not fucking passing the smell test for me, dude.
Todd Blanche went down to meet with her in a highly unusual move last month down in Tallahassee, Florida, where she was serving that 20-year sentence at the time. Now she's been moved just outside of College Station, Texas. She was Jeffrey Epstein's longtime girlfriend. She was convicted.
Well, this is what Fox News is not specifically saying here is that it is a jail that is run specifically by the Federal Bureau of Prisons. It is a federal jail. And the reason why she was moved from Tallahassee specifically to that jail is so that the Trump administration can have more control over the fact that he wants to make sure that he has more control over Ghislaine Maxwell in case he wants to, like, fucking pardon her or some shit. And with the fucking transcripts giving him exactly what he wants, some fucking political dirt that he can use to try to get people off of the fucking scent. What do you think is the fucking likelihood that this is going to fucking work and he's going to fucking pardon Ghislaine Maxwell at some point in this year? It's genuinely, it's one of those things that is just so ridiculously fucking insane to think about. That's just like, this is the fucking outcome that we're going to get right now. Like, she's going to get fucking pardoned. Fucking nonsense, dude.
Of helping him sex traffic underage female victims. I've reached out to her attorney. I've not heard anything from the attorney yet, but she also said, quote, I do not believe he died by suicide. The official finding was that Jeffrey Epstein died by suicide in his prison cell back in August of 2019 in Manhattan.
So yes, that was the initial excuse, is that he died by fucking suicide. But the thing is that there's a lot of fucking suspicious shit that more than likely happened, right? We know through that report that about 1 minute through the metadata, that 1 minute of that footage on the fucking camera got cut out, like through Adobe Premiere, for fuck's sake. So to sort of say that, like, he got, because she thinks that he got murdered. And did someone fucking murder him? That's entirely possible, right? That's like the initial thing that I said. But no, what I think more than likely happened is that some dude probably came in with a bunch of, like, I don't know, with like a gun or something. Whatever, it doesn't matter. With something in order to be like, all right, you're going to do the deed and we're going to make it look like a bit of a scene, make it look like you killed yourself so we can potentially throw the scent off of Trump. Like, that's the point of any of this. Because, again, all the reports at that point in time was talking about, like, oh, how Jeffrey Epstein was a well-known friend to Donald Trump, how they've been associated with how they known one another for a very long time, blah, 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 shit like that. So people were starting to ask some fucking questions, saying, like, yeah, you know, like, they used to know each other pretty well and stuff. It's a little suspicious, a little weird. And we all know that his Secretary of Labor, who was the AG of Florida at the time, was Jim Acosta. And he tapped him on the shoulder to make him part of the Labor Secretary to not have him further investigate into the fucking Epstein files. And whatever, like, other bullshit happened with fucking Jeffrey Epstein. So you can kind of deduce that, like, there's a little bit of potentially sussy stuff going on here. Like, what exactly is not being elaborated on? I don't know. It seems a little weird.
She was charged a short time later. Again, she's serving a 20-year sentence. So Todd Blanche, Martha, goes down, talks to Ghislaine Maxwell, does a 2-day interview with her. This is all part of DOJ's transparency effort to get information about Epstein out there after the Justice Department earlier in July said that the investigation wouldn't yield anything else. It was closed. And there was major blowback toward President Trump, toward Attorney General Pam Bondi, FBI Director Kash Patel, and Deputy Director.
Yeah, because, again, keep in mind, because Fox News isn't going to say this, Pam Bondi in February said that she has the client list on her desk and is ready to fucking release it, that she has all the Epstein files and everything and she's ready to release it. And then all of a sudden at the bottom of the fucking 9th inning, just as they were about to release it, they say that there's no list or anything, no client list. There's like nothing suspicious in the files whatsoever, even though in the Wall Street Journal report they know, and Pam Bondi herself literally told Donald Trump, saying, like, sir, you're in the list. You're in the fucking Jeffrey Epstein files. You are in there. And it said that he appears in there multiple fucking times. So do you really want me to fucking believe that you really want me to fucking believe that there's like nothing sussy going on here whatsoever? Like I'm not buying it, man. I'm just not fucking buying it, dude.
Dr. Dan Bongino and others. It's interesting, and you can stop me if I'm talking too much here, but it is interesting. I noticed President Trump in the Oval Office, Martha, was just asked at another event, a FIFA soccer event about an hour and a half ago, about Epstein documents, and he commented on that. And he said, I told Pam, meaning Attorney General Bondi, and others to get as much information out as possible, but he said, I'm afraid that it might ruin some people's lives because anybody can be accused of anything. But really the top line here is...
Which, again, the only reason why he's saying that is because it's an excuse. It's meant to throw people off of the trail. Because of the fact that he's in the fucking Epstein files. He's in the files. He's in the motherfucking files.
Maxwell never, had any type of client list of Jeffrey Epstein's, did not incriminate any high-power individuals. This coming from a well-placed source who's been briefed on this investigation. We're going through that as well.
Yeah, bull fucking shit. I'm not buying it, dude. I'm not buying. I refuse to fucking buy it, dude. Like, why? That's so inconsistent. Again, he's a fucking information broker. You're telling me he doesn't have a client list? Bull fucking shit, dude. I'm not buying it. I just don't buy it.
And then not to give our viewers too much information, but the Justice Department today actually handed over a bunch of Epstein-related documents to the House Oversight Committee as part of its investigation. And we know that James Comer just put out a statement, and he basically said that DOJ put out its first production of Epstein documents related to the subpoena, but that's going to take a long time before they put that out to the public because they have to get rid of any type of incriminating information, not incriminating information, any identifying information, I should say, of potential victims, Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell victims, Martha.
Yeah, this is very interesting, David. Thank you very much. And we'll let you continue to pour through these. We're looking through these documents as we speak as well. Let's bring in Jim Trusty, former federal prosecutor, get his thoughts on the early release of this, or the early reaction to the release of this, I should say. Jim, welcome. It's Friday afternoon, heading into the last week of summer as we get this drop. Your reaction to it and what you've heard so far.
Yeah, I mean, all of it's really intriguing to me. I mean, again, the big picture is we don't normally look in prosecutors' files if there's not a trial. We kind of let the evidence play out after an indictment. We see what happens at a trial. Here we've got this kind of bizarro world, I think maybe fueled by special counsels where they write reports, where everyone feels like we're entitled because we care so much about Jeffrey Epstein to look at all the evidence and find out if there's other names. Well, The reason we don't share files, yeah, it's partly to protect victims, and in this case, young women that were molested, but we're also protecting people from...
Yeah, but we already know who are the main people who fucking were the victims, dude. They've already testified and have given fucking interview. We already know. Now, can we talk about the fucking victims that haven't necessarily, like, come out and testified and given their witness testimony? Sure. But here's the fucking thing. You take the big black Sharpie, redact. You can just redact that. You can do that. Like, you're allowed to do that. And then you can fucking release the testimony. You can do that. Like, you're allowed to do that. You can release a bunch of fucking documents. Now, I'm not 100% certain what the sort of, like, legality on that is. But that's something you can do. You're the DOJ. You have the ability to do that. It's fucking nonsense. Again, they want to just keep covering up for the fact that he's in the fucking goddamn Epstein files, dude.
Essentially defamation or guilt by association when they've never had a chance to totally acquit themselves. So this whole world we're living in now where it's like, let's do an interview and then put it out for the world to review on a Friday is kind of odd to me. Now, the starting point was a pretty typical starting point for federal prosecutors, which is a proffered letter. It's not full immunity. It's basically saying, for our conversation today, Ms. Maxwell, as long as you're truthful with us, we'll never use any of your words against you in any sort of prosecution. Again, very unlikely that there's going to be a new prosecution of her. But that's kind of a typical thing. They call it Queen for the Day immunity. And that's what she received to get this conversation going in the first place. And, it seems like a lot of it's probably going to be kind of just a little bit self-serving opinions. Like, it doesn't really matter what Ms. Maxwell thinks about whether Epstein killed himself, but she wants to opine about it.
So why do you think they decided to...
I don't disagree with what that guy is actually saying. Because they're talking about all that stuff. Again, like, she's going to opine about that because she doesn't want to go into any details. Because the reason why she's actually doing this is because she wants the fucking pardon. That's what she wants in reality. She wants that presidential pardon. So if Trump deems it as, like, okay, well, you know what, Ghislaine? I think what you said is good enough. It's satisfactory enough in order to mostly attack my political opponents more, and also, well, get the scent specifically off of me. So I think I'm going to give you that pardon. Which, again, I do think that if Trump goes ahead with the pardon of Ghislaine Maxwell, it's not going to play well to the base. I think they'll be up in arms about this. They will be fucking pissed.
To release this, as was just mentioned by David Spunt, the president was asked about this in the Oval Office when he was talking about FIFA and the upcoming events in 2026, and he said, well, I've asked Pam, the Attorney General, to put out whatever they can. And just going through this, there are names in here that have, to do with who her father did business with, and you can easily imagine people reporting, oh, well, this name and that name are in the Epstein file. But this is in sort of the groundwork that they're laying as they begin speaking with her about who her father, Robert Maxwell, a famous British publisher who was involved in a lot of businesses. So there are names in here that have nothing to do with the period, this is before she ever met Epstein. So I see what you're saying, James.
Yeah, I mean, that's troublesome, right? I mean, there's people that really didn't do anything wrong. They're suddenly going to be in the spotlight. And that's just a kind of a strange scenario that we're finding ourselves in. As to why they released it, I mean, look, the grand jury materials, I think, were kind of properly...
I don't think this, I don't know why Fox News is bringing this up in particular, because it doesn't fucking matter. Like, the shit that people are looking for specifically are, like, people who might have done, like, fucking potential sex crimes. Like, no one gives a fuck about, like, Robert Maxwell's, like, fucking client. I mean, we're talking about, like, conspiratorial people, so they could just, like, say anything, basically. So I guess, technically speaking, in that respect, like, okay, yeah, sure, like, they're being, like, stupid morons in that particular respect. But the thing that people are mostly focusing on are a lot of the current people that are in power and a lot of, like, people who are CEOs, did they go into fucking, like, Little St. James? I think they're mostly saying this just to try to deflect, I think.
Protected by a judge who said, no, it's not enough just that the world's really excited and wants to know kind of scurrilous details about Epstein and Maxwell. The judge, I think, properly respected the statutory protections we have for grand jury materials. This one's kind of different. I mean, I almost wonder if the Deputy Attorney General basically talked to the attorneys and said, my intention is to release this publicly.
Yeah, but they wanted to fucking, like, the reason why the Trump administration wanted to unseal, like, grand jury testimony and everything is because they wanted to get people off the scent, right? But that was shut down by a federal judge because the federal judge was like, no, you're not allowed to do that. Like, fuck out of here with that bullshit. And that attempt basically got fucking shut down. And so, what exactly are they trying to do now instead? Well, this fucking whole interview shtick with Ghislaine Maxwell to release the transcript to not only get political dirt on their opponents, right? That's the point of all this. Because, again, with Donald Trump constantly mentioning how often Bill Clinton was in there, and there's all these, like, leftists that are in there. Maxwell fucking directly contradicting that stuff kind of, like, throws a wrench in that particular work there for Trump. So He didn't exactly get what he wanted in that particular respect, because she didn't really incriminate anyone else. She didn't really incriminate Trump either, because again, for Ghislaine Maxwell, she's trying to just angle for the pardon, right? Like, and to try to stay in the good graces of the Democrats as well. For like, hey, establishment fucking elitist Democrats. I didn't say anything about Clinton. In fact, I said that he wasn't there. Like, I gave positive stuff about fucking Clinton, right? And she's also trying to curry favor with them. Like, for her, all Ghislaine Maxwell fundamentally cares about is trying to get the fuck out of Dodge, try to get the fuck out of the situation, which is why it's just like, you know, it's kind of inherently dishonest to have to, like, talk with her at all, because we know what her modus operandi is pretty much in this particular instance. She just wants to do anything possible in order to get the pardon. That's all she fucking cares about. And if it means, like, getting some help through from the Democrats, through the Republicans, she doesn't give a fuck about any of that stuff. Like, all she cares about is getting off the hook. That's it.
And maybe she'll get some form of credit for that. And so we have to kind of wait and see a little bit whether the jail transfer made anything or if that was just coincidental. And then there is a vehicle for reducing sentences.
I don't think it's coincidental, right? Like, it's a directly federally controlled prison. Trump wants to have, like, more flexibility and, like, more control over Maxwell's fucking movements. That's why.
Cooperation called Rule 35 of the Federal Rules of Criminal Procedure. It's conceivable that they'd say this was somehow very helpful and we're going to try to reduce your sentence. I'm not banking on that, but there is an actual mechanism they could use if they wanted to.
Well, we know that the families of the young women who were part of the Ghislaine Maxwell trial have spoken out very strongly, saying that they hope there is no leniency given to her. But we'll see if that happens or not. You know, it's interesting, at the beginning of this document, Jim, she talks a lot about the fact that she just wants to tell her story to the government. And she says all through this process, the government never interviewed me, never asked me any questions, and I've always wanted to tell them what I know.
Yeah, that's a two-way street, though. I mean, look, most of the time, particularly while Epstein was alive and pending a case, you know, it would have made a lot of sense for her attorneys to come to the government and say, hey, you know, she's in a position to help you out, and go down that route of being a cooperating defendant, where you don't get a free pass, but you don't end up getting 20 years. You get some sort of reduction for cooperation. That didn't seem to happen on her end either. I mean, there are circumstances where, as a prosecutor, you say, I'm not going to make a deal with the devil to go after a demon. You know, I'm not going to cut slack to this person because they're at the high end. And she's definitely a partner of Jeffrey Epstein. But I think that if her attorneys had made overtures to potentially cooperate, she would have had that opportunity to tell the story. And, you know, it didn't happen. I don't think she can quite blame the government for that.
Yeah, okay. I don't disagree with that either. Like, again, she's just like, we already know what Ghislaine Maxwell's sort of, like, objective. She wants to do anything possible to just be let off the hook. So then, I don't know, she can, like, abuse more fucking children or something. I don't know.
It also is coming out that she says that former President Clinton, she saw he was on the plane with Jeffrey Epstein. I think we knew that. She says she never saw him getting a massage on the plane. You know, you think about how these things are going to be parsed and how carefully she may be phrasing some of these things, Jim?
Yeah, that's a red flag. I mean, you know, it's funny when you talk about certain types of proffer sessions, when you meet with a cooperating defendant. I've had them with you know, MS-13 members, and I'd rather almost have the shameless sociopath, somebody that'll sit there and tell you right to your face how they killed somebody, and not really have any sense of dissembling or rationalization, than somebody who's a little more sophisticated, like some of the white-collar type defendants. And the reality is, she seems like she might be quite capable of rationalizing, dissembling, being very precise to the point of perhaps being deceptive. So in any of these circumstances where you're talking to somebody with an incentive to please the government like she has, you have to be really careful that she's not kind of playing you for a tune and telling you some stuff that's just a little too self-serving.
So in terms of the government's ability to change her situation, she was already moved from, I guess, a rougher prison environment to something that is a little bit more moderate, a little bit more comfortable for her to live in, I guess. What could happen to her next? You know, given the fact that she was convicted by a jury.
That's an interesting way of saying. Like, was that fucking Tallahassee prison really that rough? Like, what the fuck does rough even mean in this particular respect? Like, bro, she's a fucking sexual abuser. Who the fuck cares about how fucking rough it was? Like, fuck off with that bullshit, bro. Again, we know why she was fucking moved to begin with. It's so that Trump can have more flexibility and control as to how they can move Ghislaine Maxwell. That's the point. Because again, what is it? It's Byron, Texas. The prison that she was fucking moved to is directly headed by the federal government. Who's in control of the federal government right now? Oh, it's the Republican Party and Trump. Interesting, isn't it?
What's down the road here, potentially?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's totally in the hands of the federal government. I mean, there's two options. Her attorney was kind of shooting for the stars and settling for the moon, saying, we'd be glad to get a pardon from President Trump. I don't know if that's in the cards. I don't think she's a particularly attractive candidate for a pardon or a commutation. But that Rule 35 I mentioned is a vehicle that can be used to reward cooperation. It's just normally the cooperation has to be a little more substantial than just feeding the press. It has to be something that helps you build a case or helps you, develop new targets. And again, too early to know what's in this whole series of transcripts, but it's not grabbing me that that's a likely outcome that would normally be a justification for some sort of benefit for her to reduce the sentence.
Yeah, I mean, that feels like the question, and you just put your finger on it. If it isn't information that is useful for a coming prosecution or a coming legal process, and it's just sort of to put it out there, it's hard to see what the leverage is for her in that.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's a lot of discretion. The judge has to approve of any sort of motion like this, and they usually do. If a prosecutor says, hey, I know this person never testified, but they gave us some information that was helpful, gave us some leads, that usually will sell where a judge will consider a reduction. Maybe not to the extent of a reduction that the prosecutor asked for, but here we're just in this different territory of there is no pending case. We wanted to talk to her to kind of satiate the media beast and the people that are all dying to hear all these kind of, sexy details. And I don't know, doesn't grab me as something where she's necessarily going to be able to prevail upon Todd Blanche and company to give her a reduction in her sentence, even if that's entirely what drove her conversation.
Yeah, well, certainly her.
But the thing is that the interview in here itself is inherently fucking dishonest. Again, like I've mentioned before, the only reason why Ghislaine Maxwell is going through with this to begin with is because she's making a bet, right? Probably her and her team are making a fucking bet that Trump is going to be sympathetic to their position because of the fact that he in the past has said like, oh well, I wish Ghislaine Maxwell luck on her trial and everything because I think they treated her very, very unfairly. So that's why she's just like, oh, I have a chance to potentially get out of this bullshit if I play nice with the Trump administration. Like, I don't know, like tickle his balls or some shit. Like, that's why she's doing what she's doing. Like I said before, this is all inherently dishonest here by Ghislaine. She can't be trusted.
Her story has spilled out all over the place. There's about 6 or 8, I guess, audio tapes that have been released, and the entire transcripts of the conversation between Ghislaine Maxwell and Todd Blanche and more attorneys on either side. You can see these headlines crossing on the bottom of our screen that are also found in this transcript. She said that President Trump was a gentleman in all respects. She said that she didn't remember seeing President Clinton on the island, although I reported earlier that she talked about him being on the plane. So all of these, as you say, Jem, sort of salacious details that will be gobbled up by the press as Ghislaine Maxwell finally gets the opportunity to tell her story. And it's very lengthy on the front end, I'll tell you. She goes into her whole psychology of her relationship with her father, and I guess there's some suggestion that maybe that, set her up for a strange relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, and maybe that she's looking to build that as some sort of excuse for the things that she was convicted for. But we'll continue to dig in here. Jim, thank you very much. Good to have you with us today.
Yep, good to see you.
The Justice Department is also sending some of the Epstein files over to the House Oversight Committee today. Are you in support of them releasing all of them?
Keeping it open.
If they wanted to
people shouldn't be hurt, but I'm in support of keeping it totally open. I couldn't care less. You got a lot of people that it could be mentioned.
Yeah, again, in comparison to what he was saying before, where he was seemingly quite afraid of what was going on in there, the only reason why he's saying, like, I'm totally okay with it is because he probably thinks that if whatever the House Oversight Committee is going to get is not incriminating enough against him. Like, that's why he's saying this.
Those files that don't deserve to be. People, because he knew everybody in Palm Beach. I don't know anything about that, but I have said to Pam and everybody else, give them everything you can give them, because it's a Democrat hoax. It's just a hoax. The whole Epstein thing is a Democrat hoax. So we had the greatest 6 months, 7 months of the history of the presidency.
And again, same fucking bullshit line. Even though he's, like, appeared in the fucking flight logs multiple times. Yeah, bullshit.
And the Democrats don't know what to do, so they keep bringing up that stuff. But it affected them. Bill Clinton was on his plane and went to the island supposedly 28 times. I don't want to bring that up, frankly. You have...
yeah, Ghislaine Maxwell directly contradicts that.
Larry, whatever his name is, Summers, the head of Harvard, who was Jeffrey Epstein's best friend. Nobody ever talks about that. But I don't want to hurt Larry Summers, but he was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein. No, this is a Democratic hoax to try and get the significance of what we've done over the past 7 months. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. They say it's #1 in history. What we've done, including stopping 7 wars. Just include that. And now you look at the stock market today. It's way up to start off with.
Obviously, he's saying he has to say all this like complete bluster and idiotic fucking bullshit to again throw people off of the fucking trail. Like, that's the point of him saying this. Everything Trump is doing policy-wise is incredibly fucking unpopular, and the peace to 7 wars thing that he keeps bringing up, bull fucking shit. Listen, it was initially 5, now it's 6 wars, now it's 7 wars, huh? Oh, okay, buddy. Sure, man.
From where I took it. And this market was going to crash. If Joe Biden or Kamala were president, this market, we would have had a crash like in 1929. You're not going to have that. It's only a question of how high is it going to go.
It's really funny that he is saying that there's going to be a crash in 1929, but he's basically set up all the conditions necessary for there to be a new fucking Gilded Age, or that there is essentially a new fucking Gilded Age. Right now, job numbers are flagging. Currently, the inflation is going up, which are the 2 main things the Fed are supposed to help, prevent, is the job numbers going down and inflation going up. So those are the classic signs of stagflation or stagnant inflation, right? Where the growth is down And, well, inflation is going up, which are telltale signs of economic recession.
The strongest economy in the history of our country. And despite COVID, we had the strongest economy in the history of our country.
That you rode off of the coattails of Obama for, but okay.
And we're going to blow it away this time. I was always good at making a lot of money. And whether it was for myself or whether it was, I like doing it this way better. I mean, I like making it for the country. Our country's been ripped
6 failed businesses, by the way.
Off by friend and foe. Nations all over the world ripped off. And the friends have been much worse than the foes for the most part. And they're not ripping us off. We just signed a deal with the European Union. They're paying us essentially $950 billion, like a signing fee. They're going to buy $750 billion worth of energy. They weren't buying much of our energy there. And they're very smart in doing it. And as you know, Ursula was here a couple of days ago having to do with the people, the leaders that we had agreed. People said they've never seen anything like it. We had the leaders of Europe right here in the Oval Office. And she's so happy that she has an agreement.
The greatest conversation
ripping us anymore.
on the planet, folks.
We're run by, this country is run by smart people now.
First breaking tonight, Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, literally every fucking policy that he has done is incredibly fucking unpopular, and no one... Like, he is underwater currently on every fucking issue, dude. Yet, yeah, I'm very smart. I'm the smartest and the greatest. But what do we have here?
Sidekick Ghislaine Maxwell says she never witnessed then-businessman Donald Trump receive a massage aboard Epstein's jet. She says he was a gentleman in all respects at all times. Tonight we're getting a first look at the transcripts from her 2 days of interviews with the #2 official at the Justice Department. Today's release came without any warning. Senior national correspondent Rich Edson has been looking through the documents all afternoon. Good evening, Rich.
Good evening, Jillian. The Justice Department unexpectedly released audio and transcripts covering about 9 hours of interviews with Ghislaine Maxwell. The conversation with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche covered Jeffrey Epstein's death and his relationships with Presidents Trump and Clinton. Maxwell said this about Trump's behavior.
I never saw the president in any type of massage setting. I never witnessed the president in any inappropriate setting in any way. The president was never inappropriate with anybody. In the times that I was with him, he was a gentleman in all respects.
Now, the Epstein associate told...
Again, like I said before, we know what her modus operandi is. She's going to appeal to Trump and anyone possible in order to try to get off the fucking hook. And, like, even fucking Tim Burchett himself said that, well, we're doing this in order to get dirt on the fucking Democrats, and if she's seen as lying, then she's gonna get completely, well, BTFO'd for it. If that fucking dumbass also sort of, like, just lays it out threadbare, like, do people for even half of a fucking second believe that she's going to be honest or fucking truthful about any of this stuff? Like, nah, I don't believe that for even 1 second.
Blanche, she thought Trump and Epstein were friendly, but were not close. She says the photographs of Epstein and Trump together were from social settings. As for another president's relationship with Epstein...
You're not aware of President Clinton ever going to the island?
He never, absolutely never went, and I can be sure of that, because there's no way he would have gone.
Earlier today, Trump repeated his claim that Clinton had been to the Caribbean retreat more than a dozen times. The department previously determined Epstein committed suicide in 2019 in jail, but Maxwell thinks otherwise.
I do not believe he died by suicide, no.
And do you believe that, do you have any speculation or view of who killed him?
No, I don't.
She also says that claims Epstein worked for American or foreign intelligence services are nonsense, and she denied Epstein kept a client list. Maxwell is serving 20 years in federal prison for convictions on sex trafficking and other crimes related to Epstein's sexual abuse of underage teens.
So again, like I said before, the idea that fucking Epstein did not have a fucking client list just makes no fucking sense to me. Again, like, the dude is an information broker. His purpose is to be an information dude. Like, you're telling me that an information guy is not going to have the necessary, like, material and sort of, I don't know, clients lists or whatever to basically say, like, oh yeah, like, this is who is in the client list, this is who was here, blah, 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 blah. And, like, he's meant to be, like, an information broker guy, and he's not going to have any of those details. I highly fucking doubt that.
She is actively seeking clemency from the Supreme Court. After her discussion with Blanche, prison officials moved Maxwell to a lower security penitentiary in Texas. The Trump administration has been under pressure to release all the government's documents related to the Epstein case. This afternoon, the Justice Department separately delivered more Epstein documents to the House Oversight Committee to comply with a congressional subpoena. Maxwell has maintained her innocence. Prosecutors allege she was properly convicted of recruiting vulnerable teenage girls, grooming, and abusing them. Jillian?
All right, Rich Edson with those details for us tonight. Thank you.
All right, now let's broaden this conversation out. Joining me to do so is former CIA analyst Buck Sexton. He's a nationally syndicated radio host with the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, and nationally syndicated political reporter Selena Zito. Also, we have with us Fox News contributor Jason Chaffetz. Let's take what we've heard so far, Buck, and tell me what you make of what she has to say about President Trump, about the client list, about Bill Clinton.
Well, I think she's largely affirming what is already known and not really advancing the knowledge of the case at all, which is unsurprising if you look at the motivations that she would have at this point. But first, in terms of what is known and solidifying what is known, President Trump did absolutely nothing wrong. There's no evidence, there's no indication, there's nothing whatsoever to suggest that President Trump ever did anything wrong with regard to all of this. So many of us have known that from just the case files and everything going back for quite some time. But she vociferously and repeatedly goes to that. Okay, so people can put that aside now. I mean, I don't know how much more is going to be necessary for that to become. There are people who will hate Trump and try to lie about him no matter what. But I think that's affirmed now in a way that we can move beyond it. She also says, essentially, nobody else did anything wrong. She didn't see any, meaning other than Jeffrey Epstein, she didn't see any criminal conduct that Jeffrey Epstein even did herself. There is no blacklist. Now, that's always been a shorthand, and people talk about a blacklist. What they really mean is people who were blackmailed. But, Will, as I was going through the transcripts, she says there was no blackmail.
Wait, blackmail? Wait, okay. No, when people are talking about the fucking list, they're talking about a client list. Like, people who Jeffrey Epstein had as, like, business associates and whatnot. Like, that's what they mean by a blacklist. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, when people are talking about... Again, fucking inconsistencies here. Like, when people are saying, like, oh yeah, like, Jeffrey Epstein totally did the shebang shabong or some shit, like, he definitely had a bunch of people that he was associated with, and it was, like, very, very sussy and weird. Like, that's what people are, generally speaking, actually talking about. Not about, like, all this stuff. Yeah, like, so far, it's mostly just been a whole bunch of, yeah, she's just like, oh yeah, totally, nothing to see here, nothing whatsoever. Yep. And I, like, a dog, I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
She also says, at all, of anyone, she also says that the money was made through high-stakes financial deals. What? There's some things here that just still don't add up, and I think we need further clarification on some of the points that she made, and I think that maybe that will be forthcoming from the DOJ.
So you're absolutely right, Buck. I think there are very legitimate questions about Ghislaine Maxwell's motivations and credibility. And in just a moment, we're going to be getting more into those deeper issues that accompany questions about blackmail and international or domestic intelligence. But let's stick with the names for just one more moment. Jason, I want to read to you now. We're working on ingesting this audio. This all just dropped about 1 hour and 10 minutes ago. But I want to read you now from page 265 of the interrogation from Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. He asks Ghislaine Maxwell, and you're not, I think you said, you're not aware of President Clinton ever going to the island. To that, Ghislaine Maxwell says, he never, absolutely never went to the island. And on that note, Jason, there have been a lot of questions. Obviously, the political focus has been, of late, on President Trump. We've heard Ghislaine Maxwell on Jeffrey Epstein's relationship with President Trump. But there remain a lot of questions about his relationship with Bill Clinton.
Yeah, this is a person in Ghislaine Maxwell that knows a lot about Epstein, that he has, erectile dysfunction, but, plays the part of Sergeant Schultz and can't recall anything that anybody did any wrong. That list may not be written down on some nice, cute spreadsheet, but it's in her head. And I wish they would just ask her the simple question. Well, then the people who visited the island, start writing down a list. If you're going to get limited immunity, you better start coming up with a list. And, you can verify whether or not President Clinton went to the island. Go ask the Secret Service. There's a reason. The Secret Service is secretive, but they're also law enforcement. And if there was a commission of a crime, they still need to answer questions. They shouldn't be bashful about asking them. And I think they should go to that direction. But I don't buy what she's selling at this point. She is highly motivated to say whatever she needs to say in order to get out earlier. But come on, there's 2 people that went to jail.
I mean, this is the exact same shit that I've been also saying. Like, again, like, she has her own fucking motivations here. Like, I don't believe her for even a fucking second either. Like, why would she say a lot of the things that she's saying, right? Like, why would she? Like that's not, like, ridiculous or hyperbolic to say. Like, she has her own fucking motivations. Like, that's not silly to fucking say, right? Like, the idea, man, that, like, basically that fucking Ghislaine Maxwell is not going to do everything possible in order to try to get out of this is, like, if you think otherwise, then, like, dog, you're I don't know, you're huffing a bunch of fucking copium, brother. Like, that's the most cope of fucking cope shit on the fucking planet, dude. Like, of course she's just going to do everything possible to try to get out of this stuff, because she doesn't want to get fucking, she don't want to go to jail. She's like a wealthy fucking socialite. Like, you think her dumbass wants to go to jail? Of course not.
Only one of them is still alive, and there's nobody else that did anything wrong, and you can't come up with anybody else who did. What were these young women doing going to the island? Playing hopscotch? Getting lessons on how to sing or play the violin? Come on. There's a lot more here.
Okay, and here's another big question. We'll go to you on this, Selena. The question that everyone has been asking for several years. Did Jeffrey Epstein commit suicide? She was asked this, again, by Todd Blanche. Here's that exchange. So you think he was? He did not die by suicide, given all the things we've just talked about. Ghislaine Maxwell responds, I do not believe he died by suicide. No. What do you make of that, Selena?
Well, I'm not surprised by that answer. This is someone that believes that they knew him well, probably knew him better than anyone else. So for her to make that assumption, that's not surprising. You hear that from people all the time when they lose someone to suicide. That I can't believe they did that, right? This is her version of saying that. So that doesn't shock me. The other thing I think is important to note, and the woman's name escapes me, but the reporter from Miami who had done such great reporting on Epstein.
What did Donald Trump claim that Jeffrey Epstein get murdered? I don't know if Trump ever mentioned anything at all about Jeffrey Epstein's circumstances about him dying. That I don't know about in particular, Boy Meets Minnie. I almost want to say yes, no, maybe, I'm not sure. Yeah, like Ghislaine Maxwell is saying it wasn't a sui. I thought Trump said he didn't commit a sui. I don't think Trump has ever commented on any of that part. I don't think so. I don't remember. Because we know, based off of the deletion of that fucking metadata, like, do people really fucking believe for even 3 seconds that Jeffrey Epstein either A, was not... Yeah, he's been very vague on this. And it's really fucking weird to just be like, oh yeah, not the client list stuff, to say that he got murdered, but then other people are saying he committed suicide. But we know that there was the 1 minute clip that happened, right? There was a 1 minute clip that got fucking cut out in the metadata. We know that happened for certain. That like, you can't fucking take away any of that shit. But he got murdered, or he was like, he committed fucking suicide. The problem is like, we don't really fucking know. It's all being inherently vague, very, very much so on purpose. And that's what makes this like a complete fucking shit show. It's just like, dog, like, I think more than likely, and this is what I think more than likely fucking happened, Jeffrey Epstein, during that 1 minute cut that happened, was more than likely given the tools needed in order to do the deed by, I don't know, some representative from somewhere. It doesn't matter where. Who cares? Someone gave him the fucking tools and said, like, all right, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna fucking, you're gonna put the kibosh on this shit, okay? You're gonna do the deed. It's gonna be Jover, and shabing, shebang, shabong. This is what's gonna fucking happen, and you're gonna fucking play along with that shit. And more than likely, I think that's what he did. I think that's more than likely what he did. Someone probably, I don't know, like who the fuck, it could have been fucking anyone, right? Because, again, like, the idea that he's not just, like, some fucking information broker guy is also fucking ludicrous to me, okay? Like, why does he have all these, like, connections with powerful people to begin with, right? Like, that's another thing you also have to say. And the vagueness really doesn't fucking help with any of this stuff, right? Like, so it's a little off to me in particular that it's just like, he got murdered, but a bunch of people are saying that he committed suicide. Oh, but like a bunch of people also are saying all of this and this. Like, to me, I smell a rat. It smells like fucking bullshit to me. I don't fucking trust anything from fucking Ghislaine Maxwell, because she's motivated to get her fucking pardon. She's gonna do anything possible to get the fucking pardon. Like, I don't think it's like ridiculous or hyperbolic to say that whatsoever. So, like, I find it very strange and peculiar that people are saying, like, oh, well, he committed suicide, but he got murdered, and it's all just being inherently vague, when we know for certain that more than likely people gave him the tools in the 1 minute that was cut out, and they just cut out the 1 minute of him doing the fucking deed. Because, again, like, how would he have committed suicide in a fucking federal maximum security prison? There's no fucking way. With a guy that fucking big? Nah, bullshit. More than likely, someone, because I made the meme that it's like, oh, the Clintons put like a hit out on him, and you know, it's like a silly meme, but like, I don't know, dude, it's just a complete utter fucking shit show on purpose, because again, Trump is highly motivated to try to like throw everything possible into the wind to get people off the scent on this shit, which is why like he's letting Ghislaine Maxwell go along with all this bullshit to begin with, right?
Has said all along that there never was a list, and so she kind of reinforced that. Now, to her other things that she said, like nothing untoward happened. Well, she's just protecting herself, right? But in that moment, she's in that bubble of self-preservation.
The idea that there would be a list does defy common sense for any common criminal. Why would you maintain your own evidentiary criminality? But to Jason Chaffetz's point, that doesn't mean...
I mean, like I've said before, he's an information broker, right? That's the point. If you don't maintain the list, is like you have to do that. Like, he's an information guy. The purpose of this is to make sure that if there's a billionaire or like someone who's rich and powerful who steps out of fucking line, you have blackmail material on them ready at all times. That's the point.
There aren't clients. Just because there might not be a list doesn't mean there are not clients. And Ghislaine Maxwell could be put to the test on naming the names, creating the list after the fact of people that she saw on the plane, Buck, or at the island. And again, we are digging through this virtually in real time. I'm not seeing that here. I'm not even seeing Ghislaine Maxwell pressed on what are the names of these clients.
Yes, I mean, if you were to take Ghislaine Maxwell at her word here, and I think all of us, you will, and the rest of the esteemed panel, are looking at this like, come on, we understand that there's likely a lot being held back or outright falsehood at this point, although it'll be tough to prove some of those falsehoods. It depends. This is, I think, a moment where we have to ask, hold on a second, if she's unmotivated here to tell the truth, what are we going to get out of this? And I think that that's where you have to see other aspects of this trial coming together, because she's telling us that essentially the only criminality that occurred here was Jeffrey Epstein, that he hid, that even she, who was so close to him, didn't know about. It's just not credible. It's just not credible. That part of it, I think, is where it most obviously falls apart. And as for the list or the possible blackmail list, again, I think this is a little bit the terminology has become a stumbling block here. It's, to your point, Will, clients, people who were involved with Epstein, who were giving him fantastic sums of money and other things, and we don't really understand still to this day. He was involved.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me that they're also skeptical about this, Boy Meets Minnie, because again, it's too fucking sus. It's a little weird. Like, what the fuck's going on here? Like, you're telling me that, like, there's no criminality, nothing fucking happened at all? I mean, it really lays threadbare just how fucking bad the cover-up was. It was such a fucking poorly done cover-up. Like, it's like, dog, you're really trying to tell me that there was, like, nothing fucking happened at all whatsoever? There's no fucking way, bro, right? Like, there's no fucking way. Of course something fucking happened. Bullshit otherwise.
Involved in getting like large sums of money, but how? What exactly was he doing? This is all traceable. This should all be trackable. I want to know how Epstein made the money that he did. I want to know what the transactions are he was involved in. And that should all be something that the Treasury Department, the FBI can get access to, because in the meantime, what we're left with is Ghislaine Maxwell effectively downplaying this whole thing. Yeah, he was a pedophile. He hid it from everybody. Nobody else was involved. There's no proof of anything else. There's no blackmail. There's no foreign intelligence tie. Oh, wow, that just brings it all together with a bow for her, doesn't it? She probably wants to get out early. So I think that we have more digging to do. I think the DOJ transparency effort here is the right thing, but the reason it's on a Friday, Will, is I think there are no smoking guns. There's other places we have to look.
Well, Buck, you appropriately pushed the conversation to the deeper and more important conversation. The existence of a client list or salacious names who may have had relationships with Jeffrey Epstein in some ways has been a distraction to the deeper story of who was Jeffrey Epstein and who were the people around him, like Ghislaine Maxwell. Who is Ghislaine Maxwell? For that matter, who is her father, Robert Maxwell? Well, this all came up in this interview.
All right, it's time to bring in our panel. We've got Fox News contributor Mark Thiessen, Real Clear Politics White House correspondent Phil Wegman, and Democratic strategist Megan Hayes. Great to have all of you with us here on set tonight.
Democrats.
Mark, let's start with this. Take a listen to Ghislaine Maxwell talking to Todd Blanche about former President Bill Clinton.
I think you said you're not aware of President Clinton ever going to the island.
He absolutely never went, and I can be sure of that, because there's no way he would have gone. I don't believe there's any way that he would have gone to the island had I not been there.
Nobody would believe it. I mean, to listen to her speak on these audio tapes, you would think she's Mother Teresa.
I know.
Nobody she knows has ever even thought anything inappropriate.
Yeah. So she says there's no client list. There is a client list. I know there's a client list. You know how I know there's a client list? It's in her head. She was the pimp. She was the one who procured the girls. She was the one who was his connection to all the wealthy people. No one went to the island without her permission or without her recruiting them. She knows every child who was abused. She knows every person who did it. I remember, in the old legal shows, when you interrogate somebody, you take a legal pad and a pen and say, write down your statement. Somebody should give her a legal pad and say, write down the list. She's got it in her head.
Megan, the big question today is why on
Fox News being so skeptical about this is just so fucking crazy to me, dude. Like they're not fucking buying this shit, because again, it's one of those situations like, come on, bro, there's no fucking shot. Like, you guys are fucking full of it. Like, why would you fucking like people weren't fucking born yesterday, bro.
On earth they are talking to her now? Blanche asked her some questions about President Trump. Take a listen to this clip of one of her answers.
I actually never saw the president in any type of massage setting. I never witnessed the president in any inappropriate setting in any way. The president was never inappropriate with anybody. In the times that I was with him, he was a gentleman in all respects.
I mean, I am in the camp that everyone should be held accountable, from Democrats, Republicans, the people who manage the money. All of the people should be held accountable. There is absolutely no reason that she should not be the only person in jail for this. There are hundreds and hundreds of victims, and to your point, she knows who the victims are. She also knows who the perpetrators are. There needs to be more accountability being held. So if that's releasing more files, if that is more interviews, and that's what needs to be happening. This is disgusting that we've let this go on so long, and there is literally only one person in jail for it.
In a way, Phil, this effort undertaken by the Trump administration to bring transparency to this has given this woman a platform to defend herself, to defend her disgraced associates, to defend the horrible things that they did for decades.
And despite that lovely British accent, Ghislaine Maxwell is a monster. She's a self-motivated monster because right now she wants a pardon. I'm not surprised during this interview that she went out of her way not to make any new political enemies, but I doubt that the public is going to take at face value anything she says, and I don't think that this is going to get rid of the scandal around this. Some of the claims that she made, to Mark's point about there not being a list, or even the claim that there were no recordings that she saw, just aren't true. For instance, we already know that Epstein's New York mansion was wired and there were cameras everywhere, so I doubt that this is the end of anything.
Well, there was some other big news.
I
today,
also doubt it as well.
Panel, but I want to get you guys to respond to the FBI raid on former National Security Advisor John Bolton's home took course, and his.
Okay, I do not care about the fucking John Bolton raid. Is it just going to be John Bolton shit at the end of this?
This took course over
House, or by
all who have mishandled classified information in various settings.
Okay, yeah, I do not give a shit about fucking John Bolton raid. Okay, I don't care about that. I already talked about that shit. Yeah, so the fact that even fucking Fox News in of itself seems to be rather fucking skeptical about all of this is very, very interesting to me. Again, we know about fucking Ghislaine Maxwell's, motivated reasonings for all this stuff. She's trying to do everything possible in order to get a pardon for this stuff. She cannot be trusted. And I don't think that these transcript releases are really going to help anything. I still do think that more than likely, because we know that Trump's in the fucking Epstein files, right? He's not going to wiggle his way out of that one, okay? He's wallahi, he is cooked for that one, okay? Wallahi, cooked. Wallahi, so he's guilty in that particular respect. So the idea that he's, basically trying to, I don't know, at this point, try to get away with, I'm trying to think, what's the best way of saying this? He's basically trying to do everything possible in order to put the fucking kibosh on this, because just dog, it's just not fucking believable, right? It's fucking bullshit. There's too much bullshit that's going on here. People are smelling a fucking rat, and there's no fucking way that the Trump administration is is not sort of doing everything possible in order to just protect Trump's ass on this one. Because that's what he's fucking doing at this point. He's trying to protect his own ass because he knows that more than likely it's uh-oh, wait a minute. I'm kind of guilty on this one there, folks. I don't know about this one. I might be cooked for this one. I might be getting got for this one. So he's trying to protect his own ass, obviously. And that's why he's just trying to do everything possible in order to throw as much into the wind as possible in order to get people off of the scent. Because he knows that he's probably fucking guilty. Because he was definitely in the fucking Epstein files. There's no other way to fucking look at this besides, dog, he's in the fucking goddamn motherfucking files. Because again, you're trying to tell me that this dude who is a well-known fucking trafficker and fucking pedophile, it did not have relations with everyone in fucking New York, especially Donald Trump, who has who is a fucking New York fucking businessman. Nah, there's no way. I don't fucking believe that for even 3 seconds. So again, Ghislaine Maxwell can't be trusted. She is I don't know. I'm trying to think of what the best term is. A compromised candidate. I don't know if compromised is correct. She can't be fucking trusted is mostly what I'm trying to say here, because she is a person who quite literally is will just do anything possible in order to get that fucking pardon. She's also trying to curry favor with the Democrats, for fuck's sake, in order to try to have any connection possible to make sure that she can get away with her goddamn fucking crimes of what she has definitely fucking committed. So again, I don't trust any of this fucking bullshit. And I don't think anyone's gonna be fucking satisfied in particular with the answers that are being given here. I'll be quite honest. Yeah, I don't think there's really much else to say besides Trump was still in the fucking goddamn Epstein files, and no one's going to be satisfied with any of the bullshit that's going on here. No fucking shot, dude. No way.